Hey everybody! Okay, so I did a live video today and I found this on YouTube and I'm just sort of playing with it, trying some different ways to do it. So the base of this recipe is not mine and we're playing. We're just seeing if it will work. Alright, so the first thing we need to do is we need, where is my crib sheet? Where's my cheat sheet? Oh, hang on, I gotta get my cheat sheet. I forgot my cheat sheet. I found it. Woo! Okay, so, I don't know if this will work. I mean, we're just playing. We're just seeing if it'll work. And it sounds really interesting. It sounds fun. Okay, so we need 2 ounces of melt and pour soap. And clear would probably be better, but I got white, so I'm using white. There we go, 2 ounces. Okay, 2 ounces of melt and pour soap. Okay, so then I'm going to add, because I'm into all, natural and healing stuff, we've got to add some oil. And you could add argan oil, jojoba oil, almond oil. You want a light oil, something not too heavy. So now we're going to add 2 ounces of black cumin oil, which is very, very healing to the skin. Okay, all right, so that's number 1. And in this one, we're gonna add activated charcoal from Essential Depot. And so I'm gonna add a tablespoon of activated charcoal. Put that lid on there right now, because it can get away from you. I'm gonna wipe off that spoon. Okay, so now the recipe giver said that you have to act really quick because it's hard to get your fragrance stirred in, but I'm just not willing to put my lavender in the microwave. So I'm not gonna do that. So let me tear that out. Let me see how much we ended up with. Yeah, 4.40 ounces. Okay, so now we're gonna do another 2 ounces of melt and pour soap. There you go. And then in this one, we're gonna add calendula oil. We're gonna tear that out and add 2 ounces of calendula. Okay, so now calendula oil would make this recipe more expensive. So you could add something else if you wanted. Oh, I got the one that's not opened. And I buy my clay from Soaper's Choice. And we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna add a heaping tablespoon, I didn't quite heap it enough, of bentonite clay. Oh, I don't buy it from Soaper's Choice. That was my dyslexic brain. I buy it from Crafter's Choice. There we go. Alright. Okay, so now we're going to put these 2 in the microwave. We're going to try to get them in there together. Probably going to take somewhere around 30 to 60 seconds for the 2 of them at the same time. So we'll just have to see. Before I do that though, I want to talk to you about our other supplies. We're using sea salt granulars also. I also have these cute little frog molds that Bridget found in the baking section at Walmart. But my main thing is I wanted to see if this would work, okay? It's the little molds that you use to make oil melts or wax melts to go in your oil warmer. So this is the thing that I super wanted to see if it would work. So I've got some of those laid out and more ready to go. And then I've got plastic bags to put these in and bread ties. And I'm not gonna punch any ventilation holes because this stuff has to be wrapped up airtight. So I've got those ready. And then I've just got some spatulas, some whisks, that kind of thing. And we're gonna need 6 ounces of salt. And since it was said that we needed to work fast, I'm going to go ahead and measure out my 6 ounces of salt. Well, I think I am. All right. We got lumps. That's gonna take forever and a day. Also use sugar. Ooh, I overdid it a little bit. Okay, there's 6 ounces. Okay, and there's 6 ounces. So we've got that all ready. All right, let's get our calendula oil and our black cumin oil. And so now we are going to go ahead and whisk our bentonite clay into the oil so that it's not a powder when we put it in the microwave. And the same with the activated charcoal. Okay, so that's all ready. So now we need to have our fragrances ready. So let me tear that out. Okay, we're using 0.2 of the lemongrass. Well, put that right here. I'm using Essential Depot's therapeutic organic brand of lemongrass and lavender. And we're using 0.4 on the lavender. Okay, lavender, most healing essential oil for the skin, lemongrass, a natural skin toner, plus everybody loves lemongrass and lavender. I mean, it's your first soap, right? Okay, so I'm going to take these to the microwave and I'll be right back. Okay, now you can do this in the microwave with on defrost, or you can do this on, what you call it, full heat. This took me about 2 minutes on defrost. I gave you the time though, 30 to 60 seconds on regular heat, but I always do this kind of thing on defrost. So it took me about 2 minutes. I had them both in there at the same time. I'm having to work really good to get the bentonite clay to blend well, but the activated charcoal seems to be blending really well. I'm going to give the bentonite clay one a little bit more. Alright, so now we're going to put in our fragrance. The lavender was for that gray one, and the lemongrass was for the activated charcoal one. And now we're going to put our salt only in the gray one. I should have had a bigger whisk. Alright, now I want to show you what happens is it becomes very solid when you put the salt in or the sugar. So now you have to go put this back in the microwave for a few seconds until you get it back pourable. So I'll see you back in a few minutes. Okay, so now I'm blending again to make sure that everything's blended nicely. And you have to be careful about getting it too hot because you don't want your sugar or your salt, whichever you're using, to melt. Ooh, it smells good. I'm going to give it a little bit going over with the spatula. Okay, so let me get that over here. And let's see if I can let you look at it. All right. Okay. I'm still having problems with the oil not blending well, and I can't say that I think calendula oil, see, once it becomes like this, it's solid, but now I can't pour it. Oh, sorry. See, now it's unpourable, and now it's completely blended, so, and not showing separation. So I'm gonna try heating it up one more time really gently, not as much as the time before, and see what we can do. Okay, so here is our bentonite clay one, and what we're going to do, and you could do this so precise and all that fun stuff, but this is a test, so I'm just wanting to see how it would come out. So I'm going to tap those down so there's room for the bentonite clay one layer to go on top, and I'm definitely getting some separation of my oil, and I'm not 100% sure why, but in any case, I'm going to blend it together again. Ooh, it's getting too thick. So technically I should take this to the microwave again, But instead of doing that, I'm going to stick with these 3, and I'm going to try making these into the little silicone mold by just pushing them in and see what happens. Okay, it feels really oily. I mean, this recipe, it just seems to me that that's too much oil and it should be cut down. But as I said, this is not my recipe. I just decided to give it a whirl, and it just seems like it's way too much oil. But we'll go ahead and finish and see what happens. Okay, so now we have our activated charcoal one. Doesn't seem to have melted or gotten hard on me. So let's go ahead and put our salt in. As soon as you do that, you commonly have to take it back to the microwave to get it more flexible. But the bentonite clay one, even though it's been sitting there all this time, it seems to be quite friendly. So I'm going to go ahead and fill the top of our one that we didn't fill all the way, so it would be sort of a half one way and half the other, and then bring you down. And I'm just gonna scoop this in. Yeah, this seems like way too much oil. I sort of thunk it when I was looking at the recipe, but I thought, well, you know, I ain't never made these before, so I don't know everything. You know, it's good to recognize the fact that you don't know everything. I really should have gloves on this, but we're not gonna, this is not a sold product. I'm not gonna sell this. I didn't realize I was gonna actually have to put my fingers in it. Alright, so there's those 3. Now let's see if we can fill up. Oh, I got it into a frog that had a little gray in it. So I guess he won't be solid black. Yep, there goes the fingers. Okay, so now I'm going to put these in the freezer and then we'll try to get them out, and we'll see about all this oiliness. It's just like icky. It's like way too much oil. So we'll see. Hey everybody. I know I accidentally cut my head off. It's okay. I can live with my head being a little cut off. All right, so I got these out, and I know you'd have to clean these up and, you know, make them look nice and everything, but as you know, my concern is that they're too oily. I was hoping that you could sell these just like they are in these little trays, and then you could just pop up one when you wanted to use it. But I'm gonna let these sort of warm because they've been in the freezer, and I'm gonna pop one of these out. And they're oily, and part of a foot didn't come out. So let's see what happens when we wet them. Well, you know, for spa bars, you know, it's really nice. They crumble. You know, one is what you might call a one-time use, and maybe activated charcoal wasn't the best pick, but you know, people are really into activated charcoal, I mean, right now, and they're really into bentonite clay, and this cube just decimates in your hand. So, you know, for a spa bar, something to take into the tub to use as a scrub, look, it just disappears into mush in a heartbeat. I mean, it's too big of a mess for me to even rinse it like this. But look, I mean, you can like super scrub. I mean, it feels awesome. And voila. I'm gonna have to take this to the sink, look. I mean, you know, so, you know, I mean, it's moisturizing. It's, you know, you can scrape it off and apply it somewhere else, and it really feels good. You'd want to get a fine-grained sugar, okay? It smells heavenly, and in the tub or the shower, this would rock. I mean, this would rock. But here at the kitchen table, it's not so good. Look at that. Okay, so this is definitely a great little scrubbing bar, but the only problem is you're gonna have to put these in something where they can't get touched. They can't get pressed. I mean, I was hoping to put them in plastic bags, but I mean, if you press on that, they just disintegrate into mush. It needs more soap. So hang on, let me go rinse myself. Okay, I'm back. So I made a terrible mess, but I'm gonna have to tell you, my skin on my arms felt absolutely awesome. So I'm sure these are not as hard as they're gonna be, but I want to play with one. So what I was hoping is that, yeah, and these they pop right out, and so isn't that cute? You got the perforated little, you know, indentions, but they are so oily. I mean, the oil is just not soaking into the product. I think a half an ounce would have been, I mean, an ounce, maybe even a half an ounce would have been better. I don't know exactly. I don't know, but 2 ounces of oil to 2 ounces of melt and pour soap and 6 ounces of salt is it's just too much oil. Let me show you. Let me show you this. Hang on. I mean, this is a packaging nightmare. See that? And when I, one of them come loose. There we go. And do you see the oil just floating around? So maybe the same recipe, but add 4 ounces of, melt and pour soap. But this is definitely a fun idea. And everybody's into natural right now. And activated charcoal and bentonite clay is really popular. I mean, I had a woman come in. I mean, I had so many people come in today. And bentonite clay and activated charcoal, that's all that was on their mind. So this little cube here, now this is much nicer to work with than the big turtle. And you can still break it, but look. But this is much easier to work with. So I do like the little cube idea. If it wasn't so blasted oily, you could take it out of this plastic container and sell it in cubes. But it's just so blasted oily. What I was thinking was, I had one that disembarked from the other. What my thoughts on the subject is to take the cubes and there's also no bubble factor. There's just no bubble factor here. The ratios are just off. It could be one brand of melt and pour is different than another, but this is just oily. But you could clean this up, sell them in the tins just like this, okay? Put a label on them, but shipping them I think would be a no-no because of the heat involved, except for in the winter, because I think this would become gooey and it would get out of this container, okay? But selling them yourself, would be fine. And what I thought would be fun is to, the customer could take one, take their finger and just pop up one cube. But I thought it would be a much harder product than this. So see, they can, but it's, this is very crumbly. It's just not adhering well. But they could pop up a cube right out of the container and you could sell it in the container just like it is, but put it in a plastic bag and put a zip tie on it so that you could keep it air free, because you know how this stuff likes to, melt and pour soap likes to, and look at that, I can literally fill the hole back in where I broke that with the material. It's crazy. Just crazy. So anyway, I'm not fond of this recipe, but I'm thinking this could be something. We could have something out of this. We just gotta perfect it. And so I do not have time to do this again right now because I'm going camping. But I think 2 ounces of melt and pour soap to try 1 ounce and try a ½ ounce. I'm sort of going to go with a ½ ounce of melt and pour a ½ ounce of oil the next time I try this. And go ahead, 0.2 on your fragrance to 0.4 and 6 ounces of salt or sugar, the finest grain you can. Big issues is when you put your sugar and salt in, you immediately begin to firm up, and so you need to be able to work fast and be able to reheat in the microwave if need be. Yeah, this is way too oily. And I mean, that was the first thing I thought. That's what my brain said about this recipe the moment I was putting it together. But, you know, it was a recipe I found on the internet, so I felt like that it was a good recipe if it was online. I guess it's not always true. And I did vamp it different. I mean, instead of just putting colorant and fragrance and salt and soap, I added activated charcoal and bentonite clay. But I don't think that could have caused a difference in the way it absorbed that much oil. So if I had time, I would so love to make these again and do them with a half an ounce of oil and then maybe try an ounce of oil and see how they, you know, what they end up with. But for the moment, I'm gonna leave it with you. And I would just love it if you tried this at home. You don't have to use bentonite clay or activated charcoal. You can just use some colorant, salt, soap, and scent and oil. But if you do any type of recipe like this, I would just love it if you would write comments and say what you tried, what worked, what didn't, how did it come out, all that kind of fun stuff, because this is just too soft. I mean, if you were making this for yourself to use at home, fine, all that oil is just going to really be nutritious to the skin. But to try to sell this, to try to package it and sell this, it's just too mushy. It's not going to hold up to a store. It's not going to hold up to transportation. If you put it in a quart jar and put a lid on it, I still think with a little bit of heat, it's going to just cream into, you know, mashed stuff, and it's just not going to be fun. This is just not a usable recipe. But it could become a usable recipe with just a little bit less oil, I think. So I would just love it if you tried this at home and you let me know what you think. If I'd had time, in which I really wanted to do it, I was gonna try putting salt and baking soda and red reef clay. Right? Yes. I mean, that just sounded very interesting. But if you don't have the red reef clay, you could do bentonite clay, and baking soda. And I was thinking, don't take away the salt, just add some bentonite, just add like a tablespoon of baking soda. Where I added, you know, a tablespoon of bentonite clay, and then on the other one add the tablespoon of bentonite clay, and do a layer of baking soda and a layer of bentonite clay, or a layer of activated charcoal and a layer of baking soda. And depending on the size of your molds and how big you were playing with this, you could even do a layer of baking soda, a layer of activated charcoal, and a layer of bentonite clay, just depending on what you were doing. And if we cut down the oil so these things are not all oily and smush too easy, then these could be a viable thing to sell as literally scrubby spa bars. I like it. It's just too greasy, But listen, putting black cumin in your products is very, very healthy for your customers, and so is calendula oil. So both of those are good oils, but you could use jojoba, you could use argan. You don't want to use olive, it's too heavy of an oil. You want to use light oils. And that's all I know about that. All right, so I have not been able to go caving or camping in ages now, it feels like. Since I went caving, I think it's been 2 months. I don't know. I did a video on it, but it took a while before that one became public. And I'm just about to go stir crazy. I have just been working every chance I can get to try to build my YouTube channel, to try to build up my website, and stabilize everything after all this stuff with YouTube and everything, and Google with my website, and fussing about it being old school and not wanting to display it anymore. With all this stuff happening, I've just been working myself to death. And so I'm going camping, but I don't have internet access where I'm going. So I'm going to go ahead, if I can, I'm going to set this video up to turn on in the morning, if I can. I'm not sure if I can get this done in time before we have to leave. But I'm going to try to set this video up to where it plays for the weekend this week on Saturday. I think today's Friday. No, today's Thursday. Okay, so I'm going to try to set this video up so it'll play on Friday. And then I won't have another video until Monday. I am sorry, guys. But I will not have internet access to be able to turn videos on and all that kind of stuff. But I think I can turn this one on before I leave. It may be really early in the morning. I'm just not sure. We've got to go home. We got to pack and everything. I got to go get groceries. We got to get our caving stuff together. We've already got our camping stuff in the car. So it's just going to be run. And it's like nearly 7 o'clock at night right now. But I wanted to do this video because I talked about it today online. Look, there is oil floating on the water. This is too greasy of a recipe. So y'all guys give it a look, and when I get back into service, I would so love to see comments about what you playing with this recipe and what you did and how it worked, or what you had to do to make it work, because it's too soft and it's too greasy, but it feels great. And I'm gonna tell you, my skin where I scrubbed, it feels luscious. I mean, that is luscious. I have not felt my arms feeling that awesome in a very long time. So this really does have the make your skin feel great impact. All right, so bye everybody.